Crédit Agricole S.A. applies a responsible remuneration policy in compliance with European directives and the AFEP-MEDEF Code of Corporate Governance. The Crédit Agricole S.A. remuneration policy strives to apply the group's values in strict respect of all stakeholders, i.e., staff, clients, and shareholders. This policy is defined by the Board of Directors, which benefits from the guidance of a specialist committee, the Remuneration Committee, composed of a majority of independent board members, along with representative of Crédit Agricole S.A. personnel. This committee is presided by an independent board member. The remuneration policy adopted is intended to recognize both individual and collective performance over the long term, in curbing risk-taking. The overall remuneration of employees is composed of the following elements: fixed remuneration, annual variable remuneration whose payment may be deferred in time and contingent upon future performance conditions, collective variable remuneration, bonus, and share of results. Long-term variable remuneration according to the level of responsibility and contingent upon future performance conditions, peripheral compensation, retirement, and healthcare. Crédit Agricole S.A. has instituted for directors, including corporate officers, an annual variable remuneration based on: for 50% based on economic criteria, for 50% based on non-economic criteria, client satisfaction, managerial efficiency, and corporate impact. These criteria seek to tie remuneration levels to actual long-term performance, align the interests of both Crédit Agricole S.A.'s management and stakeholders. In practical terms, what is the remuneration of Crédit Agricole S.A. corporate officers? The remuneration of Crédit Agricole S.A. corporate officers consists of the following components: fixed remuneration, granted variable remuneration, which is broken down into two parts: non-deferred variable remuneration, which represents 40% of the total variable amount and comprises cash-based remuneration for 30% of the total variable amount, the variable remuneration indexed to changes in the Crédit Agricole S.A. share price for 10% of the total variable amount, the variable remuneration in share-linked, deferred, and contingent upon future performance conditions for 60% of the total variable amount. Finally, the additional retirement sums available to Crédit Agricole Group executive managers. Moreover, the chairman of the board, the chief executive officer, and the deputy chief executive officer have all committed to renouncing any other benefit disbursed by Crédit Agricole S.A. or any of its subsidiaries upon expiration of their term as corporate officer. The variable remuneration targets set for the chief executive officer and deputy chief executive officer are respectively 100% and 80% of their fixed remuneration, with a cap placed at 120% in the event performance surpasses the target. The chairman does not receive any variable remuneration. The amount of variable remuneration is set by the board of directors based on whether the objectives established at the beginning of the year have been met, economic objectives accounting for 50%, non-economic objectives accounting for the other 50%. This table summarizes the fixed remuneration applicable in 2018 for corporate officers presently in their posts. In compliance with provisions stipulated in the Sapin II law, you are required to approve the remuneration components of each corporate officer for year 2018 by issuing a decision relative in particular to payment of the proposed variable or exceptional remuneration. Since their variable remuneration is in part tied to financial results, let us observe changes in Crédit Agricole S.A.'s underlying net profit. In 2018, the increase of 12% has helped achieve solid earnings of €4.4 billion, reflecting a high level of activity and income in every business area in 2018, despite the effect of an unfavorable market in the fourth quarter for asset management and market activity. These results reflect good cost control leading to an underlying cost-income ratio up by 0.7 points compared to 2017 and still a very low and lowering credit risk cost. Therefore, the target result fixed by the Midterm Plan Ambitions 2020 has been reached 1 year ahead of schedule. Let's take a close look at the 2018 variable remuneration of CEO Philippe Brassac. For the year 2018, His variable remuneration will be paid in several installments. €346,740 payable in May 2019, €115,580 assigned in March and indexed on the change in Crédit Agricole S.A. share price between March and September 2019 and payable in September. Plus a variable remuneration of €693,480 deferred over 3 years and disbursed in equal installments of €231,160, with definitive acquisition being contingent upon satisfying future performance conditions in 2020, 2021, and 2022. Now let's focus on the 2018 variable remuneration of Deputy CEO Xavier Muscat. For the year 2018, his variable remuneration will be paid in several installments: €183,300 payable in May 2019, €61,100 assigned in March and indexed on the change in Crédit Agricole S.A. share price between March and September 2019 and payable in September. Plus a variable remuneration of €366,600 deferred over 3 years and disbursed in equal installments of €122,200, with definitive acquisition being contingent upon satisfying future performance conditions in 2020, 2021, and 2022. So, in compliance with banking regulations, these deferred amounts representing 60% of the total amount awarded in 2019 are not guaranteed. Please note that the Chairman, CEO, and Deputy CEO had all decided to relinquish, as of their arrival in their respective posts, the directors' fees owed to them in their capacity of Group Corporate Board Member, and did not receive any exceptional remuneration for year 2018. In accordance with the Sapin II law provisions, you must also approve the guidelines and criteria for determining which elements are to compose the total 2019 remuneration of each corporate officer. For year 2019, the Board proposes renewing the remuneration guidelines in effect for 2018 as regards the Chairman, CEO, and Deputy CEO, namely, the same level of fixed remuneration, the same variable remuneration targets and caps for the CEO and Deputy CEO. The Chairman of the Board does not receive any variable remuneration. In conclusion, the entire set of guidelines presented characterize a remuneration policy responsible as regards group values and respectful of stakeholders, consistent with group strategy and with the recognition of both individual and collective performance over the long term, well controlled in the areas of governance and regulatory compliance.